Hello, it's Mike, agronomy manager here at Farming Smarter, and we're back with our Saving Soils plots. We're in the barley trial, and you can see things behind me have grown substantially since I was out here last in the fall, and even in the last couple days they've shot up, and I don't even recognize hardly the plots behind me. So this is the trial. We're going to be coming in and disking some of these plots up. We're going to try that roller crimper. And for that, we have to wait for this fall rye and winter wheat to get to flowering timing so that it'll crimp it down, create a nice flat bed for the barley to get planted into. And that way, at that stage, we know the roller crimper should ideally kill the fall rye and winter wheat that's still here. So that's a practice that's borrowed from organic farming, and we're adapting it here into our Saving Soils plots. And so the overall goal of this trial and the objective of these trials is to really look at the ways that farmers can protect their soils, keep them healthy, so to speak, and prevent them, a little bit of breeze here, so prevent them from blowing away with this kind of crazy spring winds that we typically get here in southern Alberta. So we're going to go take a quick peek at some of these plots, and I'll show you what's happening. So we've got a couple different planting dates here. One of the things we're trying to do is figure out what that optimum density and growth stage is for fall cover crops. You can see our fall rye here is very, very vigorous, which is a good thing for cover, but when it comes to planting into it, we know we're going to have some negative effects on this year's crop. So something like this was a winter wheat. We seeded it relatively lightly, and this was seeded actually late September, probably later than you'd want to seed your typical winter wheat crop, but we did that intentionally to have a really light stand here. So I'm really happy with this. I think this is going to be potentially the best of both worlds here. So we had a nice crop cover in the fall. We've got a stand coming up that we're either going to spray out or crimp down, and then we're going to be able to plant barley in here without too much trouble. If we come down here, this is that fall rye. We actually have, this one says late September, but we've got a pretty vigorous crop here already. And I'm a little concerned about the allelopathic effects that we're gonna have. We're definitely got the best soil coverage in the fall. We've definitely got the least amount of erosion or blowing topsoil or anything like that, but there is gonna be challenges for the barley being planted into here. If we come down here, you can see this was our bare canola stubble. I believe they swathed everything, so there's not a lot of stubble left here. We didn't do anything to this soil, but something we really don't want to see is all that bare ground. You can see the wind has been kind of gone over, smoothed everything out. It's kind of hard. It's not really ideal place to plant our barley into this year. And then we've got a couple interesting things down at the end there. They look the same, but one thing we haven't really tried is the practical side of things, which would be to actually bale off some of this straw rather than crimping it down. The crimping practice, like I said, comes from organic farming. Makes a lot of sense when they want to keep as much residue as possible. One of the challenges that we have often, though, is that under irrigation, we end up having too much residue. And so we're often doing things like cultivating to put the residue in the ground, harrowing some of the straw off, baling it in the fall. Every time you do something like that, you're removing nutrients and removing carbon from your soils, from your land, and you're putting it somewhere else. So we've got some temperature probes here in every plot in the orange, and we're going to be looking at the temperature differences between those plots, and then we're going to be taking soil samples, so we'll be able to measure the movement of those nutrients and whether or not we're having an effect on the either building or taking away our soil carbon. Soil sampling, we've got a couple timings. One in fall, we're going to take some actually before we go and disc this or crimp it down, and then we're going to take a biomass on it as well. We're here the 1st of May. We still have a bit of time to go before these are ready to be crimped and sprayed out. In another 3-4 weeks, we'll come in, we'll take the temperatures out, we'll take some soil samples, we'll get crop biomass on everything, and then we'll be planting our barley for silage into here. So stay tuned to see how that goes. These trials are brought to you by RBC Tech for Nature and the Weston Family Foundation.